What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got our Week 10 NFL game picks outright versus the spread, along with our locks of the week. So make sure to tune in. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get right into it. And before looking at our game breakdowns, I do want to highlight OddsJam once again because it continues to be the place that I use for all of my NFL betting research. And honestly, whether it's the NFL or really any other sport out there as well, OddsJam is your one-stop shop for it all. You can take advantage of their live line shopping, so you know you are getting the best odds available, essentially getting the best bang for your buck and maximizing your profits. Not only that, whether you're a beginner or an expert, check out OddsJam's betting tools, like their positive EV tool, which shows you line discrepancy so you know you're getting the best odds, essentially getting a mathematical edge and guaranteed money in the long run, or their arbitrage tool so you get equal and opposite bets for a risk-free return. So again, make sure to check out OddsJam, link in the description. But with that being said, let's look at our games, and we kick it off with Seattle at Tampa Bay. Now, this game not really at Tampa Bay. It's actually being played in Germany, so we've got a neutral field here. What do we need to know? Well, for the Seattle Seahawks right now, on paper, they are the more balanced team. They're leading their division, one of the more surprising teams in the NFL. But I do think it's going to be a bit of a tougher challenge for them here. The Bucs, they can stop the run a little bit more so, make Geno Smith kind of have to beat them through the air. Now, I'm not saying that that's impossible. Geno Smith has played very well, but a lot of time it's been kind of managing the football games because Kenneth Walker has been so good on the ground, and then just, being able to expose coverages with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. On the other side, the Tampa Bay Bucs, the problem with them, even though they're favored, is the fact that they have zero run game. Leonard Fournette, as great of a season as he's had in years prior, this year, the offensive line non-existent, and historically, one of the worst rush teams in the NFL, the Tampa Bay Bucs are. So you know that Brady is going to be throwing the football. Now, the good news is he's got guys like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, other weapons as well. But look, Tom Brady, he's coming off a game where he almost threw it 60 times. That's insane. That's not how you build your team to win football games on a week-to-week basis. That's just too much. That's not sustainable, which is what has me worried here. I do think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'll probably ride with them outright, but the bet I prefer much more so here is on the spread. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks getting plus 2.5. Again, neutral field in Germany, no real home field advantage. Offensively, I think they're the more balanced team. Defensively, they know they just have to prepare for Tom Brady throwing the football. They don't really have to focus on stopping the run. So I think it's an easier game plan for them. I give the Bucs the slight edge. I do think it's kind of a coin flip of a game. Tough one to kick off the week. I do think Brady's a little bit more experienced when it comes to that. Maybe give him the slight edge. But again, the side of the bet that I really like is the spread. Seattle getting plus 2.5. I'll go with it there. Then moving on, Minnesota at Buffalo. So look, the Buffalo Bills at minus 3.5. Maybe you would have thought they would have been a higher favorite, but the Vikings, again, a team with one of the better records in the NFL. But I also do think this has something to do with the fact that Josh Allen could not suit up here, dealing with an elbow injury. So his status is kind of TBD. And if he doesn't play, these spreads are going to flip. Sure, this game is in Buffalo, but man, it's a whole different situation if you've got Case Keenum as your quarterback. That offense doesn't nearly look the same. I think it's going to severely hurt their rushing attack. Obviously, their passing upside as well. In that scenario, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I love the Minnesota Vikings on the spread. Offensively, look, as long as Kirk Cousins doesn't have a meltdown, they've got the pieces to keep up with the Buffalo Bills. They've got Dalvin Cook. They've got Obviously, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, the newly acquired TJ Hawkinson, who looked great, by the way, in his game last week. What has me worried here is the Buffalo Bills defense. It's a very, very good unit. Also, this game being in Buffalo. So, the conditions can be a little bit kind of up in the air. So this is kind of the prerequisite I'm going to go with here. If Josh Allen plays, I'll go with the Buffalo Bills outright. But either way, I just feel like he's not going to be 100%. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings on the spread. I think getting plus 3.5, they've been in these games. They can take advantage right now of the Bills being a little bit beat up. Let's go with the Vikings on the spread. Then moving on, we have got the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. And look, with the Chicago Bears, even though they keep losing these games, if you're a Bears fan, you have to be excited about how this offense has looked, specifically Justin Fields. I mean, just set the record for most rushing yards by a quarterback in a game. Now, again, that doesn't mean too much because the passing still isn't where you want it to be. But I think this is a matchup where it doesn't matter all too much. There's a reason why the Bears are favored, and I'm probably going to ride with them here. As crazy as that sounds, as critical as I've been of the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions right now offensively losing one of their best pieces in TJ Hawkinson. DeAndre Swift isn't 100%. And even though the Chicago Bears defense is absolutely awful, I mean, so is the Detroit Lions defense. Justin Fields right now, the Bears finally kind of allowing him to do what he does best and run the football. So I think this new X factor, this Chicago Bears offense, it's a little bit tougher to account for defensively. It opens more things up for the passing attack. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears to win this game. Minus 2.5. I feel like, that's a relatively low spread. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears on the spread as well. I do think it's going to be a very, very close game, and it can be probably one of the higher scoring games of the week just because of the two defenses involved. So, maybe the best bet here is actually the over, something to keep an eye out for as long as the weather holds up in Chicago. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears outright and on the spread for now. Then Jacksonville at the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs here. I think they're just a much better team. I don't really like the Jacksonville Jaguars all too much. If you look at some advanced stats, it might say that they're like a top 15 team. I don't agree with that. I think Trevor Lawrence has been way too up and down, way too inconsistent. Sure, Travis Etienne has looked great. The defense, a little bit better than you might expect. But I'm just going to go with Patrick Mahomes at home. Travis Kelce is doing awesome things. I know, again, the run game here is pretty much non-existent for the Kansas City Chiefs, but to me, Patrick Mahomes, he's at another level. Andy Reid, great coach as well. The Jaguars, I still think that they're maybe a year removed from kind of getting it right. I don't trust them. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs at home to win this game. The biggest question for me is the spread. Are you going to ride with the Kansas City Chiefs at -9? I'm probably going to go that way. Honestly, I just don't think the Jaguars have the firepower to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. Trevor Lawrence has been a little bit too mistake prone. I think that's going to come back to bite him here. Give me the Chiefs on the spread as well. Afterwards, Cleveland at the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to ride with the Miami Dolphins here. I know that defense isn't kind of too inspiring right now, but the Cleveland Browns have had their fair share of issues defensively as well. This is going to be the typical game script for the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be Nick Chubb. It's going to be Kareem Hunt. And then, just kind of finding Amari Cooper. We'll see. David Njoku is supposed to return here for the Browns at the tight end position. That's going to be a decent boost for them. But I think, again, offensively, tit for tat, Miami can go with anyone. Like, they have Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, like two arguably top 5 wide receivers. If you look at the stats, Tua, I mean, he's a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. Jeff Wilson kind of adding something to this rushing attack. I really do think it's going to be a matter of which defense can kind of step up a little bit more so. I'm going to ride with the Miami Dolphins, but I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns on the spread. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't have all that much faith in the Miami Dolphins defense right now. So the Browns getting essentially +4 here, I'll go with that. I think it's a good bet. Then Houston Texans at the New York Giants. So the Giants coming off the bye week. The Houston Texans, I mean, nothing too special. I continue to say Davis Mills just isn't it for the Houston Texans. They're going to be selecting a quarterback in the top 5 in the 2023 draft, no question about it. The New York Giants, again, I still believe they're not as good as their record might suggest, but they're better than the Houston Texans. I'm riding with the New York Giants here at home. The Texans, one of the worst defenses in terms of stopping the run. Guess what the New York Giants do offensively? Like what their whole game plan is built around, running the damn football. Not only with Saquon Barkley, but with their quarterback too, Daniel Jones. So I think it's going to be a big game for the Giants on the ground. Again, they aren't that really dangerous through the air. They're wide receivers or anything, but they don't have to be here versus the Houston Texans. I think this could be somewhat of a lower scoring affair. I'm going with the New York Giants. I think they're going to wear down the Houston Texans defense with that running attack of theirs, and I'm going to go with them to cover the spread at -4.5. Afterwards, New Orleans Saints at the Pittsburgh Steelers, a game that it's tough to get excited about. I'm not going to lie to you. Pittsburgh just looks god-awful with Kenny Pickett. I don't think he's it for the Steelers. They're getting +1.5 here at home, so they're underdogs. It's just tough to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. On the other side, you've got, the Saints with, a situation right now. Andy Dalton, he has his fair share of up and down games, but I trust him more than I trust, Kenny Pickett. Offensively, the Steelers, they've got Alvin Kamara. He kind of had a down game this last week, but still, he's a dangerous weapon. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas done for the season. But, they've been playing without him for a while. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they do have the weapons. You could argue they've got better weapons than the Saints with Najee Harris, with Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Freiermuth. But if the quarterback situation ain't it, then those weapons only get you so far. I'm going to ride with the New Orleans Saints here. They're favorites, but I do think it's a coin flip of a game. If you want to hedge your bets and go with the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, it's just so tough because it's basically a pick 'em. So whoever you go with outright, you pretty much have to go with them on the spread. So for that reason, I'm going with the Saints on the spread as well. Then Denver at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans favored at -2.5. For the Titans, they're going to get Ryan Tannehill back, expected to at least. That's going to be a big boost for this offense. And even though their pass catchers aren't anything special, they are better with Ryan Tannehill under center than Malik Willis. But even with that being said, we know what the game plan here is going to be for the Titans. It's run Derrick Henry like 30 times and hope that that's enough. Now, versus the Denver Broncos and their up and down offense, I think that can be enough. The Broncos don't really have a rushing attack. Russell Wilson playing hurt. Those weapons for them, inconsistent. They've got the better weapons, undoubtedly. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Greg Dulcich. So they've got the weapons, but again, with the hurt Russell Wilson, with the rushing attack not there, just underperforming, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans at home here. They're at -2.5. If that number was like -3.5, -4, I'd probably go with the Denver Broncos on the spread. So I'd say kind of track that situation as it gets closer to kickoff, because I don't think this game is going to be a blowout one way or the other. But at least outright, I'm going with the Titans. Then Colts at the Raiders. The Colts firing their coach, getting Jeff Saturday as their interim, who really has no professional coaching experience, which is kind of crazy. But look, that doesn't matter. To me, the more important aspect of the game is you still got Ellinger as your quarterback here. He's not it. Like, we've seen it. It's been a small sample size, but it's been enough to see that he is not the solution for the Colts. Like, they're better off going with Matt Ryan, but we'll see. We'll see how stubborn they want to be, and maybe they're just saying, okay, we just want a top 5 pick. It is what it is. Just move on from Matt Ryan. Jonathan Taylor should return in this game, so that should help the Colts, but I think the Raiders are the better team. They've been another team that's just been so good at blowing leads. Look at last week. At this point, it's kind of getting funny. So that's why I'm really hesitant to pick them on the spread at -4.5. I'll go with them outright. I do think they're the better team, but I wouldn't be shocked here if the Colts, keep it close, if the Raiders can't close out the football game. That's why I'll go with the Colts on the spread, but I'd much rather just go outright here, Raiders. Afterwards, Cowboys at the Green Bay Packers. man, look, plain and simple, the Packers have played like one of the worst teams in the NFL. Like, when's the last time that the Packers at Lambeau with a healthy Aaron Rodgers have been 5-point underdogs? But that's the case here. And I got to agree, I just can't pick the Packers right now. Their wide receivers are banged up to hell, unhealthy. Aaron Jones not 100% with an ankle issue. Defensively, they're not getting the job done. The Cowboys, I think this is going to be a big Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard game. And then, you've got CeeDee Lamb, you've got Dalton Schultz, you've got Dak Prescott healthy. So I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to go into Lambeau and get this victory. The spread, again, +5. I could see this being a one-score type of game where the Packers, it seems like all their losses have been situations where they have a chance to tie it up late, something like that, but it's been on desperation heaves. So I'd prefer to get the Packers at +7, +8, something like that, and then go with them on the spread. But at +5, I gotta go with the Dallas Cowboys. Just the Packers don't have enough offensive firepower. As great as Aaron Rodgers is, if his wide receivers can't be trusted, can't stay healthy, you just can't roll with the Packers. Then Cardinals at the LA Rams, divisional clash here. Again, with these games, I always say you throw the record out the window. The Rams, they're favored, but it's -1. That's essentially nothing. Look, Matthew Stafford banged up. He is questionable for this game. If that's the case here, man, oh man, big advantage the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to ride with the Cardinals either way. I think offensively right now, Kyler Murray is playing better football than Matthew Stafford. James Conner returning, that's a little bit of a boost for this offense. You've got essentially DeAndre Hopkins versus Cooper Kupp in this game. That's what it is. Who's going to get more targets and who's going to do more with those targets? And then defensively, who can make more, one more stop? I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. Again, this is a coin flip of a game. Because primarily what Kyler Murray can do with his legs, I think that can be the X factor. And again, Matthew Stafford's health. So give me the Arizona Cardinals to win here outright and on the spread. Then Chargers at the 49ers. 49ers, big time favorites here at -7. But I got to disagree on this one. I think their defense is banged up to hell. Sure, the Chargers offensively, no Mike Williams. Keenan Allen probably not going to play, but you've still got Austin Eckler. You've still got Justin Herbert. You've got a good offensive line. You've got Gerald Everett, who's been very, serviceable at the tight end position. Josh Palmer has been getting the job done. Now, again, it's not at full strength with Keenan and Mike Williams, but the 49ers are really beat up. Sure, offensively, they are loaded with weapons, McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo. But, when push comes to shove, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to, essentially be the thing that gets them over the hump here. I don't think they're just going to be able to ride McCaffrey and Debo to a victory. So I really like the LA Chargers on the spread. That's one of my favorite picks of the week. +7, are you kidding me? I'll ride with the 49ers outright, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Chargers end up winning this game. So to me, I'm just sticking on the spread here, Chargers at +7. And then finally, we go to Washington at Philly, divisional clash here. I'm going to ride with the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, not because they have one of the highest spreads in their favor this week at -10.5. They're still undefeated, sure, but with Washington, it's what I was saying last week. Again, Heineke just too up and down for me. The Eagles offensively have been very good. Washington, I think, in the back of that defense is going to have serious troubles with guys like A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Goddard, and as good as they are up front, Jalen Hurts with his legs, he's going to be a problem. And I think that he's going to wear down Washington. The Eagles' defense also very good. Give me the Eagles to win this game outright. And honestly, I'd probably go with them on the spread as well. Don't feel as comfortable on that one on the spread, so I'd rather just prefer with them outright on the money line. But with that, we wrap up our pick'ems. Now looking at our locks of the week, let's start with Detroit at Chicago. This game in Chicago, I wouldn't be shocked if this series is split, but right now the Lions, their pass catchers, not as good as they were at the start of the year. Even though these defenses aren't anything special, I think the Bears have kind of unlocked something with Justin Fields these last couple of weeks. Just continue to run him on the ground. I think that should be enough to get the victory versus the Detroit Lions. Then Jacksonville, Kansas City. I just don't think that Trevor Lawrence can keep up with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. It's as simple as that. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs. Then Dallas at Green Bay. I mean, I don't know how you can be picking the Green Bay Packers right now. Like, the only saving grace here is maybe that they're at home at Lambeau. But other than that, the Dallas Cowboys, they're one of the better teams in the NFC. The Packers, one of the more disappointing teams in the NFL. Give me the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. And then finally, Washington at Philly. I said I don't love the Eagles on the spread, but outright, I do like them a lot here. Jalen Hurts over Taylor Heineke. That offense is a lot better for the Eagles. The defense is a lot better. Should be a game where they win it. They are the better team on paper. But with that, we wrap up our Week 10 NFL game picks, outright versus the spread, along with our locks of the week. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. You agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.